Hello, Raylene Nuanis, who's a wonderful channel and astrology. She's an expert in astrology, etc. You can find out about her if you click on the link in the description box below. And we are continuing part 2 of our interview about the opioid crisis, the Purdue family, the Sackler family, and OxyContin, etc. And we have our wonderful boy Erik here. Hi, Erik. Thank you for continuing with this. And thank you, Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond, also for being with us to help us navigate this topic.
Erik says, hello, Mama. Hello, everybody. The family is here and are ready to continue.
All right. So we're going to continue with the questions that we gathered from our wonderful community. Next question. Do other natural plants, such as kratom, affect the soul in the same way, being that it quells opioid abuse by sort of working the same way? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know much about kratom, but I think it's kind of like quasi-opioid. But does it affect the soul in the same way?
Does it affect the soul in the same way?
Yes, opioids.
He says it depends on the way that you use it. This is Erik who's talking.
Okay.
And he says, so if it's something that you overconsume in, it's going to have negative consequences and negative effects. Yes, it does affect the soul the same way.
Okay. What is the soul lesson from someone having an opioid addiction?
So there's many soul lessons involved in this. The main soul lesson he's talking about pain, having physical pain, and not pain from why you're taking the medication in general, but the pain that is associated with withdrawal and the pain of trying to figure out how to interpret this, because it's not like physical pain. This is more of, it's physical pain, but not in the pain of like your arm being broken or something like that. It's pain where he's making me feel like everything is on fire and it's hard to breathe.
An energetic pain, something like that.
Both energetic and both soul, but also physical. He says there's a lesson in experiencing pain of different types, physical pain. He's saying anxiety pain, although I don't know if that's even accurate, but I mean, maybe anxiety can be painful for people.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. Any other lesson, specifically with the addiction to opiates? I'm sure there's also a lesson for family members, for loved ones that have to deal with an addict, taking care of an addict too, right?
He says every situation is different, but yes, teaching people how to communicate with someone who's dealing with an addiction, teaching someone how to deal with family members or people in general that don't understand addiction. There's a fine line of communication that's taking place. And so communication is one of them. Learning how to deal with pain is one of them. Communicating that you need help is also another one. A lot of people that turn to opioids medication, they're turning to that because there's a problem. There's an underlying issue that's not being met. And so the underlying issue that's not being met is something that needs to be addressed. He's starting to pace now. This is Erik. And he says, Mom, this is a very wide open question because there's many life experience, life reasons why you're going to choose to go through this. But the number one is to experience pain.
Yeah. And I think that also, when you have somebody who is an addict and you've tried to help them and you just can't, sometimes the lesson might be just to let go and let them just have their life experience, even if it means, they die. Right. That's one of the hardest things, to watch somebody.
Loss,
All right.
loss, and
Yeah.
absolutely to lose your family member, to lose your friend over an opioid, and to have the power to let go and to watch that individual suffer. He says, now that right there is a lesson for both, because there's a loss on both ends.
Right.
The person that's addicted is now losing a very important part of their life, and the person that's not addicted is also losing a very important part of their life.
Well, it's my theory that people who seek opioids in particular to become addicted to are just low in endorphins. And it can be genetic. It could be an endorphin receptor problem, but it can also be acquired. Endorphins can go way down if you've had some trauma in your life, a lot of loss, etc. So, and we never check, and we check serotonin levels and dopamine, but we never really address endorphins because it's very difficult to check endorphin levels. But I think that's why low dose naltrexone, which triples the endorphin in the body after it gets out of your body, can be really good for chronic pain. So is addressing endorphins the key here? Or one of them, Erik?
One of them, yes. It's a main part of it, actually. It's a major part, yes.
Okay. Is there an easier way to deal with addiction than the way we're dealing with it?
He's saying yes. This is Erik, and he says, now we can't control the actions of others, but if we would have more understanding around addiction and less judgment, addiction would not be so problematic. He says when a person is stuck in addiction, they then cope with emotions, and if they're having criticism thrown at them, if they're having negative talk thrown at them, it causes them to stay in this state of addiction and to go further and further into it. And so if we can come together as a society and have a profound understanding over addiction and know that it's not something that can be changed instantaneously.
Yes.
Right.
It's not a character flaw.
Right.
Actual illness.
It is. It's an illness. It's a disease, just like cancer is.
Yeah.
And it can be terminal, just like cancer.
Mm.
And so he says to have an understanding and to have less judgment would help addiction drastically.
Okay.
That's a great example. He's talking about when you see the homeless person on the street and you know that they're on drugs, you can tell immediately, and you're so quick to judge them. He says if you didn't have that judgment, and if that homeless person didn't see the way that you looked at them, they may not have went and used a little bit more than what they would have. He says, so you see how judgment is such an impact on an individual's life when there is substance involved.
Is there a non-addictive pain reliever that won't destroy the body and mind, that will help alleviate discomfort for long-term pain sufferers? Even if it's an herb or whatever, is there anything?
Absolutely. So he's talking about naltrexone being incredible for treating pain.
Like the low dose, not the regular, but the low dose. Yes. Instead of 50 to 100 milligrams, 4.5 milligrams.
He says having it put into the body where it's going to build up slowly over time, that is going to be the help. That is going to be the thing that is needed to help people that are suffering from chronic pain. When it comes to, he said there's a number of reasons why people deal with pain. If the pain is caused because somebody has inflammation, he's saying turmeric is incredible to help the inflammation. Because there is always an underlying problem that is causing the pain. And it's not all one label, one medication that's going to fix it. But he says 90% of it is inflammation, Mom.
Yeah.
It's inflammation.
That's the root of almost every disease. And low dose naltrexone, I'm sure what you're referring to, Erik, is that endorphins will slowly build up and build up. So And that's a good thing. Endorphins are great pain relievers. It's our natural morphine. Why do some people experience pain and are unable to push through versus those who can have serious health issues like chronic pain, who are able to go on and not let it consume them? And the same, along the same question, how does one become one of those people who can handle pain with grace and continue to be productive? So why are some people not able to? Why are some people able to?
The level of the pain that they're dealing with and the environment that the people are in. He says we're going to use Annie and we're going to use Anna. He says Annie is in a very good environment. Her family loves her, supports her, and they empathize with her. They give her empathy. They give her understanding. They try and work with her. She can cope with it really well, and she can manage, and she can do the mundane things that are needed. Right? Then we have
Hannah.
He goes, was that Anna or was that Annie? I'm like, I don't
Annie,
know.
I think. But anyway, the other one.
We have the other one. Anna.
Okay.
And she's in a very negative environment. And her family is constantly rude to her, belittling her, making the problem much worse than what it is, telling her, you can get up, you can do this, or telling him, you're making it up, it's not real. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you're not supporting the individual, or telling the person that it's not as bad as it is when you're not understanding them. And so the environment is causing the second individual to not be able to cope and do the things that the first person that's in a really good environment that can do. And he says, so the environment is key to how an individual is able to cope and do the things that a daily person can do, or not do the things that you should be doing in a day.
Support. I agree. Yeah. Is there a secret remedy for headaches and migraines that does not include medication? I know that Jennifer Doran had an ear piercing that got rid of her migraine. So they're probably acupuncture and things like that probably work pretty well.
He says, yeah, Mom, acupuncture, pressure points, you don't necessarily need to go to a specialist. You can do something that you're gonna read a book and you're going to learn how to do these pressure points on yourself. He's showing tapping.
Oh yeah. Emotional
being very beneficial.
EFT, yeah.
Yes. And he's talking about energy healing that is focused on removing stagnant energy that will help people with physical pain, with migraines. He says, I know we're talking about migraines, but he says migraines often lead to other problems, such as pain in the body elsewhere, because they're so depleted with their mind, it's creating different pain, right?
Yeah.
And so he says that there's different alternatives where you don't need a medication to take, where you can do something natural. He's saying go outdoors, get fresh air. This is the thing that can help people the most.
Exercise, nature, they all increase endorphins, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. As opium poppy and coca plants are natural, were they supplied by Mother Nature as natural painkillers and extra energy for natives on long travels, and as a 3D occupant for pain relief, or have they always been a poison?
They were supplied by nature, yes, intended for good use. He says these plants have been altered in many ways, in many shapes, many forms. They were not intended to be altered in the way that they were and the way that they are. They were here for good, to be used for good.
Okay. Mother Nature doesn't mess up. We do. All right. Next, we are honored with free will. Why is the drug allowed to take over our free will? People get so addicted to where they can't even choose the will to not take them anymore. It's like their soul is locked and cuffed. Oh, what a great question. So, any comment to that? It's not a question, but
you then allow the brain to be reprogrammed, and when you are taking a substance and you're doing it every single day, you're then reprogramming your brain. And so it's not the pill, it's not the substance that is taking your free will, it's your action.
Yeah.
And by allowing that action to take place, you then are letting your free will take over.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really don't have free will. The medicine has free will. Your brain,
Right.
reprogrammed brain, has taken over your choices. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Here's a personal one from somebody. I've been taking pain medication for 30 years from a car accident. I was at 320 milligrams down to 10 milligrams a day, but my quality of life is not the best. I need natural remedies. What pain meds really works before the opioids came about?
What natural pain medication worked before opioids? Is that
Yeah,
the question?
yeah. Well, if it's inflammation, turmeric, are there other natural pain medications?
He's saying yes, it depends on what the cause of the pain is. And this is Eric who's translating. He says turmeric is great for inflammation.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. And
He's,
also, she's asking what medication I was talking about that you water down. I would really like to try that. Uh, well, for people who can't get compounded low dose naltrexone, they can get, it's not as good, but get the 50 milligram and dilute it, crush it up, dilute it with distilled water so that you get like 4.5 milligrams or less. But it's best to just get it compounded. Like, go search, find an LDN doctor, and you will get a list of everybody in your local area, but also that you can get it through telemedicine. So I really recommend that. I take it because it also has huge, I mean, it's just good. It stops bad inflammation, which is the root of just about every disease, including heart disease, cancer, even autism. So I take it, and my Bella takes it too, just preventive. So most LDN experts think everybody should be on low dose naltrexone and their pets. It has cured so many canine and feline cancers. Anyway, do rehabs really work, Eric, or do they want people to just relapse to make money? That's a good one. My people are so smart.
rehabs work.
Yeah.
Rehabs do work. Eric is also going back to different natural pain remedies. He's saying cayenne pepper is great for pain relief,
Okay.
and oregano is also great for pain relief.
Okay.
Oregano is also a natural antibiotic, so you do want to be careful, but it's great for pain relief as well.
Yeah.
I personally haven't used it, so I wouldn't be able to let you know, but that's what Eric is saying for pain. I haven't used it in pain. Now, going to the question that you just asked.
Yeah.
Will you reread your question?
Well, actually, I've only got like 8, 9, 10 questions left, but we don't have time to do it. So we're gonna have to eventually have a part 3, people. So we'll it was about rehab, but I'll ask that when I start part 3. So we will end it here. Try to squeeze it all in, but there's too much good stuff to share with people. So all right. Thank you, Raylene. Thank you, Eric. I love you both. I love everybody out there. Be sure you check Raylene out. She does more than just channeling. You really need to check her out. So, and yeah, and subscribe to the channel and also the Atlanta Scalar YouTube channel. Bye. Love you guys.
Bye, everybody. Eric is waving at everybody, putting his hat off.
Bye.
Bye.